Here on the Sportscast, we are buzzing to have Hybrid Training Centre as our new main sponsor. Hybrid trains, assess and develops programs for the gas, electrical, plumbing and renewable energy industry. Whether you are looking to build a career in engineering or an employer who wants to upskill his workforce, check out the link in our bio and see what courses Hybrid have on offer. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast. I'm coming to you again from my living room on a Wednesday night. So if you're thinking, what are they on about? Because something's happened on the Wednesday Champions League or Liverpool's Thursday Europa League, that's why it's a Wednesday night. First off, big shout out to the workshop. We're not obviously there tonight, but we normally are, and they do, in my opinion, the best roast dinner. They've been great in supporting us, letting us record there. Make sure you go down. It's on the corner of South Road, St John's Road. Boss little...
Not South Road,
Liverpool Road, St John's Road.
Yeah, so.
There you go. That's what Gary's here for. He always picks me up on my points. Yeah, it's a great little local independent. Boss little small plates and a great roast dinner on a Sunday. So again, please go check them out. And also Hybrid Training Centre. They're our main sponsors. They are the people to go and see when you want to upskill, you want to get into being on the tools, your renewable energy, your plumbing, your electrical. Go and check them out, all the courses, stuff that you're going to need to have done for getting on the tools. And again, all your stuff there for upgrading the skills that you already have. So again, go and check them out. I will make an apology. I've got a runny nose, but sound different. I've got me ginger and lemon tea while Gary's having a beer. But yeah, 3 days at Aintree and then drowning my sorrows at Liverpool's defeat to Palace has made me feel a bit under the weather.
You're another year older, I know you're saying, like, I don't normally get sick and that.
But you said the same.
No, I don't. I don't know.
But I think we're quite healthy, me and you. And
yeah.
I genuinely never... I honestly, mate, not being sick for years.
Yeah, touch wood. I'm not like...
Yeah, touch wood.
The kids get sick in our house and Jen gets sick, but yeah, it doesn't normally get me.
But I had like 4
that's
10 plus hours sessions and it's...
And plus, you ain't getting much sleep, you were right back up again.
Yeah.
So
anyway...
Heavy, you sounded bad enough after the first night. I was like, it's not you like Alan Brazil on Talk Sport.
I don't like him. Right, loads to get through, so we'll crack on. First off, we're just going to say then on the tennis, we were hoping Emma Raducanu might have played. I think she was meant to kick off at 6.
4-8. It's
been put back.
Yeah, it's probably the match before. It's probably gone on a bit longer.
Yeah, so she's playing in Stuttgart tonight, so it'll be interesting to see when this goes out, how she got on. But the only reason I'm mentioning it this week is because there's a bit of a worry that her rankings have dropped that much over the years. She's not a guarantee for the French Open, which then you start to think she might not be a guarantee for Wimbledon, which is mad to think that, you know, she's Great Britain's great hope and she's not even playing well enough to kind of make it in the big tournaments.
She'll get a wild card for Wimbledon, won't she?
I don't know, will she?
I would say so. I think the fact she's British and she's won the US Open, Wimbledon will give her a wild card.
It can't just be like picks for mates though, can it?
But that's what it is like though, isn't it? They do literally just pick whoever they want. They can pick whoever they want.
Yeah, she's in. She needs 5 people to drop out of the French Open for it to get a spot. So I just thought it'd be worth checking out how she gets on in Stuttgart. But unfortunately, the match hasn't kicked off yet. So yeah, check that. Give this a pause. Maybe go and see how she got on. And then if she's got beat, you can expect me to give her some shit next week. And the other one was
before next week.
Yeah, probably on my Twitter. And then the other one is Andy Murray. It's he's coming out. He's not having surgery now, and his ankle. He's not having surgery on his ankle, and his foot's in a boot. And it's just a race against time if he's going to be fit for Aintree. So fingers crossed for him. It's on my brain. But Wimbledon. It's
probably more likely to make it for Aintree.
I'm still pissed. One absolute mad story, right? That's come to light, and I thought it was interesting because we've had a little bit of it in the Premier League. So in basketball this week, right, the NBA has had I've done an investigation. They found out that a player called Jonte Porter.
Yeah.
Have you heard about this?
Yeah.
So he plays for the Toronto Raptors, and he's basically being banned indefinitely by the NBA for gambling. So he's placed 13 bets. His smallest bet was $15. His largest bet was $22,000, and his net winnings was $21,965. So it says Porter never bet on games he played in, but he did bet on the Raptors to lose.
When he didn't play.
And the NBA have just went, right, that's it. You're banned for life. The NBA also went on to say that Porter gave information to a bettor who placed £80,000 accumulated on, and the bet would have won back 1.1 million, but was frozen by Sportsbook for unusual activity.
Wow.
Porter also bet 54,000 on 13 NBA games using an associate account. The bet ranged in size from $15 to $22,000, like we've just said. That's mad, innit?
Yeah, because, and you know what? You know what I thought when I seen it? That's not someone who's got a problem. That's someone who's, like, you know, premeditated, making a decision to basically have people off, isn't it? I know, but look, I've got no sympathy for bookies. But, you know,
I know what you mean. The cases we've seen with Joey Barton and also Ivan Toney, I mean, they were making hundreds of bets. And Tonali, they were making hundreds of bets, and a lot of them seemed to be like bet builders, silly little kind of how many
just literally it was a combination of, I guess, boredom, but more so like an addiction. You could see that they weren't able to control.
But this fella's only placed 13 bets, so that doesn't scream out addiction, does it?
And the fact, like that thing of,
but the fact he's give information to someone who's dropped 80 grand.
80 grand on an accumulator, it would have came in as well.
1.1 million.
That's that. I mean, look, I've got no sympathy, and I think that's the right line. And I know we spoke about this, but again, it's a bit like the whole drugs thing. I think they need to almost do it. Have specific rules for it and go, well, look, this is how it's going to be treated if you do X. This is how you'll be treated if you do Y. Same in the case of drugs. If you take this classification of drugs, it's this ban. This classification is this. In this sport, it's this because it's you're more of a threat to, you know, causing injury to your opponents or opponents.
That's a good shout, yeah.
But
just a minute, it seems like these commissions for different sports
do whatever they want.
Yeah, it's just kind of how they feel on the day, really, isn't it?
And in that case, I think they have took the right line because there's you know, that's like a scam, isn't it? Like
and I don't know if you've seen it on it's called Bad Sports on Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't seen that particular one.
Well, there's an NBA one where young lads are, you know, throwing games and stuff in college basketball, so it obviously is right for it. I just thought that was an interesting one.
It's setting an example, innit? That
oh
one,
God,
really.
yeah, not half. Just especially thought it was interesting, given obviously Tonali and Toney this season. Keeping to American sports for a minute, don't know if you've seen this past week, O.J. Simpson passed away.
I think it was actually before, might have been before we recorded last week, actually.
Was it, yeah?
I think so, but yeah.
I remember, like, I'm not a big fan of NFL, but I remember him doing all that.
Yeah.
As a kid, it was mad.
It was a mad, like, watching the TV and
wasn't it mad?
The car chase and stuff.
Crazy.
Yeah, have you seen the movie? Well, like, the kind of...
I've seen a couple of documentaries on it.
The one with it's the one with David Schwimmer in, who plays his lawyer.
He plays Kim Kardashian's dad.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so anyway, he's passed away. I mean, we'll just stick to Olympics as well. A load of news has been up this week saying that it's less than 100 days now till it gets started, which actually got me excited because you think Premier League finishes, we've got 2 weeks, then it's the Euros, and then a few weeks later it'll be the Olympics. So it's a proper summer of sport, if you like.
Yeah.
So I was dead excited. I thought, this is brilliant. And then on TalkSport, they had this kid on who is competing in his very first Olympics, and it's the first Olympics that they've decided to allow this activity, thank you, to take place. And that sporting activity is breakdancing. What the fuck?
I know. It's an art, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's where you draw the line.
It's not a sport.
No.
How can... And I know people might think, well, hang on, there's other sports in the Olympics that are judged, i.e. gymnastics or things like that, but breakdancing to me is so subjective, isn't it? It's like, you could think
your taste, isn't it?
Yeah, you could think that's great. I like someone when they body pop, and I could go, I like them when they spin on their head. I mean, how do you...
No, I agree, because breakdancing, as you say, it is about taste, isn't it? Like, you prefer that type of speed, move. I prefer that type. It's a bit like music, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, isn't that's rubbish. That's brilliant. What are you on about? Do
you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if they start having just DJs coming on the Olympics who does the best set.
Yeah, like...
Do you know what I mean?
Start having, like...
Calvin Harris against bloody...
X Factor.
Tiesto or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like, where do you draw the line? That is not sport. It's break to art. Just, yeah. So I got dead excited about a summer of sport, and then remembered that we live in cloud cuckoo land, and now breakdancing is going to get an Olympic gold. So I weren't keen on that.
That's bonkers, that's absolutely bonkers.
What's not bonkers, and probably opening up a bit more of a bigger debate or more serious debate on why it hasn't yet, or maybe you think it should never have, but athletics have become the first sport to offer prize money, and the gold medalists are looking to win about $50,000.
Great. About time.
Well, you think that, but then Sir Steve Redgrave, who's won 5 gold medals, has come out and said it's wrong, and it's the wrong precedent to take. But obviously he's coming on it.
It's sour grapes, isn't it, really?
Well, I think it's a little bit of sour grapes that he weren't getting 50 G's a pop when he was winning 5 goals.
That's a bit like people playing in the 80s and 70s and whatever, and the Premier League comes around in the 90s. That's not right. Can't have that much money.
I agree. But I also think it's also to do with, listen, he's had his day in the sun. He's looking at it, I think, from a rower's point of view. That's a sport that traditionally struggles with funding, you know, with training facilities, you know, the government don't put enough money in it.
Yeah.
And now he's just looking at athletics going, well, yeah, you get 50 grand a pop. So I think he's looking at it. I agree with you saying there could be a little bit of bitterness in there, but I think he's also looking at it like the overall picture of like, well, there's some sports that are just having no look at grassroots level. But yeah, at the top end, you're going...
So, sorry, just to be clear, are you talking about track and field then? When you say athletics, you're talking about track and field?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I mean. So there's certain kind of sport and bodies have said, we've got a pot of money for this. Or the Olympics have kind of said, you can have it for that and that. Whereas I think he's saying, do you know what I mean? I think we prefer the 50 grand to go to like, so we can get better sponsorships to kind of get us to the start line. Whereas let's
be honest, it's got to be, and we've said this before, it's got to be down to commercial value, hasn't it? Like, with respect, I mean, let's be honest, if you're talking about rowing, I've got no sympathy, because it's not Oxford, a lower class. Yeah,
it's an Oxford, Cambridge kind
exactly.
of Tory sport,
none of them people who do it struggle for money anyway. Not a hobby that people... I think that what I like about track and field is there's a lot of inner city kids that have got raw athletic potential that never get the opportunity to show that potential because, you know, there's not sufficient talent ID going on. Whereas it, you know, if that money then starts to find its way, trickle its way to grassroots, which you will, if there's that level of funding available, then go for it. I'm not a fan of that going to rowing. Like how many rivers have you got flowing through the UK where there's a nice little boat club and it's a nice calm.
Have you ever been to Henley, by the way?
Yeah, it's a joke.
What a place that is.
Yeah, it's a joke, isn't it?
I think that's where Boris Johnson's from, or where he lives or something. And it's the most Tory place ever, but my God, it is lovely down there.
Yeah, and my cousins and that grew up in West Molesey, which is Walton on Thames, right by Hampton Court Palace. They all like grew up as rowers and stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, you know, and I was saying like, but maybe if Steve Redgrave was sitting here now, he'd maybe argue that if the money was given differently, there would be more working class towns.
Would there?
Probably not.
Would there? Where are we rowing here, Andy? Like, are we going to go on the canal or something?
At least Liverpool Canal, man, yeah.
It's about facility. Like, you've got to have that environment, haven't you? You've got to have the facilities.
No, you're right.
And there's got to be like, yeah.
And like you say, from the actual spectacle itself, you think of the kind of the Olympic moments that you remember. It's your Usain Bolt in it. It's your kind of Mo Farahs. It's your Jessica Ennis and that kind of thing. And again, like the thing is as well, Steve Redgrave, Matthew Pinsent. I'm struggling after that. You know what I mean? The twins, what were they called in the Coxsworth Fours? Apart from that, who knows anyone who's rowed? I could name loads of like track and field. From Roger Black and all that, he only won like a bronze or something. But you remember all the track and field, and they've went on and had careers in commentary and coaching and stuff. I got to meet.
You wouldn't advocate sports, you know, sports like rowing becoming mainstream, because what are you going to do after that? Like, you're a beast. And
I also think Usain Bolt, being the kind of freak that he was, he's probably made a few quid because he is the fastest man on the planet. Whereas there's probably a lot of great sprinters who maybe haven't gone into the media side and probably aren't as wealthy as you think.
No, definitely not. But
so this 50 grand's probably was a, you know,
I think in the case of other runners, though, I think you've got that level of athletic ability and a decent bit of aptitude, i.e., coordination and stuff. You can probably apply it to most sports, can't you? I think certainly in the States, if you're a good sprinter at 100, 200, 400, you're probably got a good chance of getting a career in one of the other sports because you're just so athletic and so...
Well, that now mean, though, that people are going, right, I'm going to train in whatever sport's got to give me the biggest payday.
But that's like...
That's life, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
Real world, isn't it?
Yeah,
if you're good at something, you go and get as much as you can for that, don't you?
The darts, mate, I don't know if you've had a quick look at it this week. So I've seen Luke Littler. He went, 6-7 weeks before he won one. He's won a couple, and he's obviously got a few seconds and a few thirds. But he now leads the league darts table. I think there's 5 or 6 more weeks to go until there's the kind of playoff where the league then splits into the top 4. And I don't know if you've seen it this week. I mean, you've seen more of his interviews than me, but Van Gerwen was kind of a little bit spiky, I thought, when...
He said, no, he's chasing after me, not the other way
with Littler being number 1 and Van Gerwen chasing him, that was kind of what's put to him. You're chasing Littler. And he come back and said, I've done 150 more tournaments than him.
Yeah, I've won 150 tournaments. He said, he's chasing me, come back when he's got 150.
Do you think Littler... I mean, listen, we've started talking about darts a lot more because of him and because of, I know you like it and stuff, you got me into it a bit, but I think he's played a big part in it. Do you think it's starting to rub people up the wrong way a little bit?
I think it has anyway, certain players, that whether they admit it or not. I think when there's a new kid on the block and the kid has attracted as much attention and has probably got as much money as he has so quickly, and they've had to work so hard to get to where they are, I think that always stings a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you've... Not that he hasn't worked hard, but he even come out, didn't he, saying I would play darts once a day. I eat kebab, you know what I mean? It was like, I don't think he meant it. I don't think he's the brightest lad in the world. I think he was just basically being dead honest. Yeah. I don't think he obviously didn't have any media training or nothing, does he?
No.
Van Gerwen's a strange person anyway. Like, he's not...
He reminds me of Pickford,
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. He's not a very likeable person, and I don't know, he's a weirdo, Van Gerwen. Luke Littler's more of a normal person. Yeah, yeah. I think generally the reason why a lot of people have, jumped on that bandwagon is he's relatable, isn't he, to a lot of young people? Yeah. Like he's just like, whatever. And even the fact he's a bit overweight, you'd either stand on one side of the fence or the other. And I've sat on both sides. I went, look, I'm not sure he's the best example for that reason. However, he's still conducting himself. I'm surprised. I'll be honest. I'm surprised at how he's maintained his level. I thought, and it might still come, I thought by now he's a bit of a wall, or like he's got a bit fed up, or the concentration levels. Now he's still young. I think that will come. I don't think he can maintain the lifestyle that he's started without being a little bit more sensible about the way he lives. But you can't knock him. Do you know what I mean? He's competed in every tournament and event he's been in. He's now top of the Premier League, which is the elite. The World Championships is the what everyone wants to win. But, he's done okay there, didn't he? So, it's not like he hasn't disgraced himself and he's done so far, so fair play to him. And he's definitely getting under Van Gerwen's skin. But what I will say is Van Gerwen disrespects most people in darts. He'll be the first person to say, nah, you're not good at this.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So... As people know as well, each week me and Gary do a few footy bets. We've had a decent few winners over the past couple of months, and I took the reins this week. And as I was at Aintree all 3 days, done little posts on the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and was well up by the end of the 3 days. Had a good few winners throughout. We had John Bon. I think that got everyone's double in that Mystical Power. We had that in a double that come in. A horse called Strong Leader. Find a 50 as well. That was another one that won for us. On the Saturday, we had the play spot come in, which paid 180 to 1. I had a tenner on it, so I cleaned up on the Saturday, which was great. And the whole 3 days was just a great spectacle, I thought. Iron Maximus obviously won the big one. I got third, Milena Endu on that. But just a great few days. Like it was
brilliant. It always is. The first year, in my memory, that I didn't go, to be honest. I had some bits going on with me daughter and stuff, and
we're making for it next year, but just wanted to touch on it and just say great few days. And
unbelievable effort from you as well. I mean, like, joking about it before we started, I don't know how you done it.
Yeah, it was
Honestly,
tough.
remembers, innit?
Yeah, that Saturday was tough. But you know what? Bumped into for people who watched we had loads of people coming up and got a few compliments and all that. He's not bad
Makes a
for the
change.
not bad for the blue was the kind of general was the general theme, and what like a good team he makes. So we got loads of compliments from the pod. So it was great to have a few beers with a few people and a few chats and all that. So that was really nice. So yeah, thanks to everyone I spoke to at Aintree. Yeah, on to next year. Over the weekend as well, on that Sunday, you had the golf. Did you catch any of the golf, did you?
Yeah. I mean, just first of all on McIlroy, you know, we said, didn't we? You know, he'd be there or thereabouts. He was nowhere near it.
Was he not?
Nowhere near. I think he may have finished about 25th or something in the end, but he wasn't really in the mix.
It's mad. I mean, I'm not, again, the biggest fan on golf, but it was mad the kind of rise he had early on in his career. And then he's not won a major now for what, 10, 20 years or something, is it?
Something like that, yeah. Not 20 years. I think it's about 14, 15 years though, yeah.
Mad, innit, that?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Considering he's always there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
But he just can't get over the finish line.
No, it's bizarre, really. But like, again, it frustrated me when, I don't know what it was, you said, oh, such and such has mentioned him saying he's going to be in one of the greats if he wins that. I'm like, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. It would be like, a bit controversial, a bit harsh maybe, but it'd be like Dele Alli coming back in 3 years and eventually starting to achieve his potential, and people talking about him like Gaza and like, it's like, come on mate, you've done nothing for 5, 6 years, regardless of what you've gone through, and credit to you for coming back, but you know, you can't be talked about like that when you've had such a barren spell of doing nothing.
And especially when you look at Scotty Scheffler, who's won it twice now in 3 years.
That's it. That's the level.
That's the kind of level you'd look at Tiger Woods at, don't you?
Yeah, the consistency. You know? Like, and I say it all the time in footy. You can watch an FA Cup tie, right? Premier League team against a League Two team at the League Two team's grounds, and you can see an 11v11, and they can look level on that day. They'll play again the week later, and the Premier League team wins 7-0. Yeah. The difference between the Premier League and League Two is not necessarily their ability; it's the consistency and it's the levels that they maintain week in, week out. Yeah, the lifestyle, the concentration, the whole package.
Yeah, and I think you can apply that to probably life, can't you? Well, especially sport. I remember, you look at Eden Hazard when he retired, and there was a season or two where you kind of, I mean, I didn't agree with this at all, but there was kind of debates going, kind of, Messi, Ronaldo and Hazard, which I didn't agree with that at all.
On one season.
But you say seasons. One season, you could go, maybe his numbers would there and thereabouts, maybe. These lads have done it for 15, 20
don't get me wrong, by the
way.
I don't want people to assume that I'm calling Rory McIlroy a League Two golfer. Do you know what I mean? He's not. He's a Premier League golfer.
I think people know what you mean.
But again, we've got the Champions League on the background here. This, that's the level, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You look at the 11 players that line up for City today, and you compare them to, whoever they're going to play at the weekend, and invariably the other 11, none of those players would get in this team.
Oh yeah.
And again, I'm not saying he's not a Champions League player either, but is he a Champions League player of the ilk of the Real Madrid players who played hundreds and hundreds of Champions League games, have won 5 or 6 Champions Leagues? Not for me. He's got the ability without doubt, and he's better than 99.9% of pro golfers, but I don't think he deserves to be mentioned in the same sentence as some of the greats.
No, I agree. So yeah, Scotty did win it. Ends up winning on 11 under. The next best was 7 under. So, we kind of ran away with it in the end, really, didn't he? And I seen a really nice point on Tiger, and everyone was talking about saying, when will he retire? And then they made it a comparison to an older golfer from years back. It was, or not years back, but a few years back, and it was a golfer who was kind of way past his day, and everyone was saying, when are you going to retire? And he said, as long as I'm still walking up those fairways and people are following me, I'll keep playing. Fair play. And it was that kind of feeling of, I know I'm not going to win, but if people still getting enjoyment out of watching me play, then I'm going to still play. So
nice way of thinking about it.
I think that's maybe the
kind of... That's what I love about golf, is that, like, again, a bit like I'm not saying that golf is breakdancing, by the way, but again, the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Some people just love seeing someone smash a drive down the fairway, 400 yards, and that's it. Yeah. Some people love to see someone who's brilliant around the greens and whatever, and like, you only really have to have 1 or 2 shots in your arm and be consistent, and people will still appreciate that. And if you've got the personality that's gone with it, and all of the the great times that some golf fans have, Tiger Woods has given some golf fans, then that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going to have those fan favourites, aren't you? Then they'll just follow you till the end of the world, On to boxing, UFC, mate, before we touch on footy. The boxing, I thought, was unbelievable. I mean, it just shows you we've gone from Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn, never even been in the same room as each other, never been working together. Yeah. Now they're making blockbuster advertisements, class, that are kind of Hollywood worthy.
Yeah, I love it.
All because they've just been given a big bag of money from the Middle East, which is just, I find hilarious. Like,
I love it. It's great. Muskie put the Eddie Hearn thing in today in our group, didn't he? And Eddie Hearn loves that, doesn't he? He lives for all that. And people saying how many takes. I reckon he nailed that first time.
So wouldn't surprise me.
He's that good. Frank Warren's just. Did you see Frank Warren's?
Yeah.
He's like, let's knock them out. And you're like, well, yeah, that's right. Something like that in the background.
Yeah.
It's like
Eddie's the showman, isn't he? He's brilliant. But again, it just makes me laugh thinking about all the excuses they've had over the years of like why certain fights haven't happened and this and that. There's only one reason they haven't happened in the past.
They're already talking about the next 5v5 that's going to include Joshua and stuff like that. So, do you know what? It's boss, because I've said it for ages. Like, when they brought in the Super Series, I thought, here we go. Tournaments, this is what we need. We need, like... And it's like, it's a bit like, again, boxing's a bit like golf in that you're an individual, you play for yourself, you fight for yourself. The Ryder Cup, golfers love the Ryder Cup because it's like their first time to be in a team. You can all work together, and you can see they're all like, the boxers are buzzing off it a little bit.
They'll be vying for each other, won't they? Come on. Yeah.
Even though they know, say for instance, if you're a golfer and you're an American, and you know one of your teammates is playing as the European who you think's better, it's like, no, you just create a bit of a needle and no, you're better. You know, it's like,
you know what will be interesting though, if what's his name? His name's Turkey something. Is it Turkey? The guy who's fronting the money.
Yeah.
Turkey something. L-shaped Turkey something. Anyway,
L-shaped Turkey teeth.
Something like that. What'll be really interesting though, if like they do another couple of these, and then he says, "Look, we've proven now you can work together. You can book the big fights on. I'm pulling my money back." I wonder how long it'll be until they start, well, we're not working together no more. Do you know what I mean? Because in a way, they've set a precedent now to say, look, you can put on great ideas, great shows and all that. It's whether, this is just for the money. And I know the prize fighters and it's big money people, but I think, what's stopping them now to go, okay, we put on similar shows in the UK, but I don't think they will be. I mean, I know they're talking about doing it but it's with the money from the Middle East. It's like if and when that money dries up.
When it's just all about purses and stuff, and it's about like TV deals and ones with one channel and ones with the other channel. You're right. It then starts to get a bit like political, doesn't it?
And I just think it also I think it's made a lot of people sound like hypocrites as well, because initially we started with the golf, didn't we? And it was like, this is not good. This is just sports washing, and no one really liked it. But now when it's like, actually, it's creating loads of great fights now. This is all right, this now, do you know what I mean? But then it's, no, it's footy. Oh, no, we don't like it when you're doing this. But then it's like, snooker, that sounds all right.
Yeah.
So I think people are picking and choosing where they want to, when they want to enjoy the Saudis' money or not.
In defence of that, I think a lot of the attitudes around footy, there's nothing broke with footy. Don't try and fix it, don't try and change it, do you know what I mean? Whereas I think with boxing, I think a lot of people have become frustrated and disillusioned with the lack of good matchmaking. The top fighters fighting the top fighters, the promoters who are the matchmakers not really seeing eye to eye. So it's like they've cut through that. I think with snooker it got a bit boring.
I agree, but then I'll counter it and say one of the arguments at football was, you're right, was it's not broke, don't fix it, but was also stop using our sport to sports wash your atrocities of your country and what you're doing. No one's really throwing that at them now, is it?
No, saying, true,
I think it's just how you're it's how much money gets thrown. That's it's wrapped up.
Yeah, no,
you're not getting. I think Simon Jordan, and I'm a massive fan of Simon Jordan. I know you think he's all right as well, but I'm sure, don't quote me on it, but I'm sure he was kind of like, it's sports washing. I don't like it. But he's a big boxing fan.
Oh yeah, and he's
like, this is a great idea.
Yeah.
So it's it's funny how people view the Saudis depending on what sport you've got. But yeah, the 5v5
I think the one thing I'll say to counter that, it's not like they're fighting for different belts, is it? And the boycotting the elite level of sport and going to fight. Like if this was, let's say for instance, this was the Saudis putting money in, and they're saying you've got to come and fight.
Oh yeah, we've made our own Saudi world title or something.
You've got to go and fight Johnny Bravo in because he's our man from Saudi.
Yeah,
it's like they're having to fight like gimps, are they? Just to please the Saudis. They are fighting other elite fighters. Yeah. They're not going and fighting the social media, clowns, are they? Yeah. I think that's the big difference. Like Henderson going out and playing Saudi in a poor league with poor players.
But it'd just be interesting if you'll have the same football fans who are giving Henderson abuse will be buzzing to see the favourite fights getting done in Saudi.
Oh, I don't think they enjoy that. I think, like, I know a lot of people more so down south. Doesn't seem to happen as much up here. A lot of people I know down south who follow boxing the way that we follow footy. They'll go to fights all over the country, and they hate it.
Really,
they hate it, despise the fact that these big fights that they would normally they build up to it. You know the way like we go home and away or whatever. You go to finals, not so much me, but you'll like save up for it. Right, we're going there, we're going on this trip, we're going on that trip. They're like that with boxing, and they're taking our biggest fights off us here.
True, yeah. Talking of big fights, I don't know if you're seeing this week. The Pope has blessed the belts that Fury and Usyk are gonna fight, and he's actually signed them as well. I don't know whether the Pope was blessing it or was just praying to God that the fight actually happened.
Yeah, well, that's probably more likely, yeah.
But I thought that was quite interesting. And then you also had the news break as well. The Taylor Serrano fight's going to be added to the Tyson, the Mike Tyson and Paul Fury. What's his name? Jake Paul. Yeah, it was Paul Fury. I was going to say.
I was gutted for them really, and I think Taylor will be a little bit like, God, really? But money talks, doesn't it?
Money, yeah. Mate, we'll rattle through the UFC before finishing off on footy. So we mentioned last week that there was going to be some...
I'm in Vegas then.
No, you're not.
I am. That's the week that I'm working over there.
Oh my God, you are messing.
No.
Do you need someone to carry your bags or something?
And the boss thing is, and the fortunate thing for the fella who I'm going to do work with, he's already booked our flights months ago. Otherwise, they would have been costing...
Right, I need to wangle myself on this. So what we're referring to there is, we said last week there's going to be an announcement in UFC 300. One of the big announcements was, I thought Dana White was pretty generous and he bumped everyone's, it's normally 50 grand bonus,
the KO,
isn't it?
KO.
Normally fight of the night, performance of the night, etc. That all went up to 300 grand as it was UFC 300. I thought was pretty nice of him. That was one of the announcements. The other announcements was Conor McGregor's making his comeback on the 29th of June against Chandler, which Gary's just said he's there for, and I will be trying to bend on that somehow. But I've got mixed views on it. I mean, I love what McGregor done in terms of, he got me into the sport like he did probably a lot of UFC fans. But I'm just a little bit like, I see a little bit of me, not myself personally, but like just someone who like, I don't mean looks like that, the joke. I just mean like someone who's come from fuck all, he's smashed it. And I don't mean I've smashed it. I mean in the sense where he's come from.
Yeah, he's come out of his...
And he's come out. He's from, I don't know where he's like in Dublin. I'm imagining somewhere like Bootle type thing. He's done well. So there's been, that's like, just ride off in the sunset. You don't need to come back. Just that's what I'd be telling one of my mates if it was him. But yeah, he's come back, and I'm thinking, is this the right, like... So I love the fact that I'll get to see him again. Hopefully we'll get some great more entertainment, even in, the build up to the fight. But if I was his mate, I'd just be like, mate, come on. You're making movies now. You've got your boat in Monaco. You've watched.
You're also still respected for what you wear. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fighter you wear, and you've still people would still recognise you as, oh yeah, Conor McGregor, UFC champion, but that'll still be a perception that people have got of you, and I think he's in danger of. Look, generations move on so quickly, don't they? We're still from the generation of, wow, Conor McGregor, look what he's done for UFC, blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
This next generation now is like, really? Him? That drunk Irish fella who keeps fucking doing stuff on social media? And
yeah, well,
who is he?
You bang on.
Is he, but what? Yeah,
well, you bang on. People like me and you will recognise him as someone who kind of changed the game of the UFC, where, again, younger fans might think, well, he hasn't won since he became he won once since he became the double champ.
They'll look at his records and go, is he messing? Why has he got any right to be stepping in there.
Yeah, I think, what was it, 1 win in the last, 4 or 5 years, I think.
4, yeah.
So, yeah. I'm on the fence. I'm excited, and it's going to be funny seeing him come back. But I'm a bit gutted because he's the one that got me into it, so I've got a soft spot for him. But yeah, that'll be good, and you'll have to try and get tickets for that.
Yeah, honestly, I was in the office today, and the girl who works in our office, her son was like, is massively into UFC, and I'm trying to get him flights and whatever, and I was just like, kind of listening to her, and I was like, when's this? And she was like, June. I was like, when in June? I hadn't even, and she went, 20th. I went, I'm there.
Wow.
And I had to just double check that definitely I'm still there then.
So you had Alex Pereira as well. He left no doubt that he's the kind of champ for a first round KO against Hill. But I think that the big one, which was that good, Dana White didn't put it behind the kind of paywall. He put it straight away onto the YouTube, and it was Max Holloway's finish. It was unbelievable. He was already up in the fight. He's probably won the fight probably 4-1 maybe, you would say. But yeah, there's kind of, I think the bell goes, doesn't it, to say there's 10 seconds left. And he says to Justin Gaethje, stand here now.
Money in it.
Let's have it now. Stand here now.
Yeah.
And just points to the middle of the ring, and they just go at it.
Class.
And just start knocking lumps out of each other.
So it was like, well, why not? Let's one of us should get the dough.
Yeah. And he got
and
the
he
dough.
fancies himself to get the dough.
With a second to go.
Do you not think, right? And bit, I'm not saying it's like corrupt or nothing whatsoever. It's just, it is what it is. But do you not think they've said, listen, if it gets to the end of it, one of us, let's just fucking get in the middle and.
Nah, because it's too much money as well, because you forget about the performance of the night or the fight of the night. You're getting a show bonus and a win bonus. Now Max Holloway he was already winning, so it's like, why would you potentially, because if he gets clipped at the end, loses the fight, you know what I mean? So unbelievable for him to have the ball to say.
I need to laugh at this. I'm assuming Real Madrid have just scored, because I've just heard your next door neighbour.
It might have been Bayern Munich, to be fair.
Oh, maybe. This is behind a little bit, so I reckon Real Madrid have scored.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, it's
we'll
not
get to see the next few seconds. But yeah, no, I think like Max Holloway there, if he gets clipped by Gaethje and loses that fight, people are going to say, why the hell?
It was,
Madrid, City 1-0 down, Rodrigo.
Go on, sorry.
Wow. Bit of live reaction there for the first time. So, yeah, I think fair play to Max Holloway giving the fans what he wants, because if he gets clipped, lose the fight, people would say, his coach says to him, why have you done that? You're 4-1 up. Why have you done that?
Proper entertainment.
But anyway, yeah, he got the knockout, which was brilliant to see. Unbelievable. Right, mate, we'll finish on footy. Last 20 minutes or so. Pretty awful weekend for both of us, really, wasn't it? Start with Liverpool. I mean, I took Alba the match. I actually had tears from me, Felt terrible. And it wasn't even cockiness, but every time I've took the match, he's been about 10 or 15 games. You see Klopp fist pumping. And this was the last game she will have went to Anfield now to see Klopp. So all on the way there, I'm saying to her, this will be the last time now you see Klopp, because I haven't been able to get a ticket to the last 2 games. So she's like, oh wow, dead excited. And then obviously we go down 1-0 and then just can't score. And I was like, the realisation now that we're probably not going to win the league. It's a really sombre atmosphere. And Alba says, is Klopp not going to do the fist pump now? And I said, no, obviously we're just not winning, he won't do it. She started going a bit teary, do you know what I mean? I felt terrible on her. Everyone around us is just really sombre, really quiet. And it was just a pretty awful day. I just can't understand the amount of times we've gone behind, normally we've been able to bring it back. I think 7 or 8 times.
It's almost like the same as the Nunes conversation, isn't it? It's like funny and it's like, we come back again, we've done this and done that. It's funny until it's not. Yeah. And then it becomes oh my God, why have we got ourselves in this position? You can't keep doing that continuously. Yeah, and it's the first game that I can remember now going 2 games at Anfield, not only getting beat but not scoring. 180 minutes at Anfield now. Atalanta and Crystal Palace, where we have it at the back of the net. One of my mates made a point, and I was like chatting to him on WhatsApp, and he basically said, and he's a Red, and he went, do you know what? I'm starting to get the feeling that the whole announcements of the Klopp thing was just too early, and it's gone on too long. It's like, it's almost like it's drained the life out of the players and the fans, having to constantly, like, you know, we've got this, we've got... I don't know, he just said there's already enough emotion within the grounds and at Liverpool matches and the fans anyway, without this as well. And he said, I just feel like some of the players are just, it's too much pressure for some of them. And Robertson almost touched on it in the interview after the match, and he said it just felt a bit strange in the ground today. He said the fans were a bit edgy. Some of our players couldn't really deal with it.
It's a fair point to it, yeah, because again, even I've just mentioned it then, I'm thinking as well, this is the third to last time he's going to do his fist pump, and it's been that for a while, and I actually thought it was a good time to announce it, because there wasn't much pressure. I think we played Norwich in the FA Cup, it might have been, and I thought probably a good time to do it. And as the season went on, it became a bit more important, if you like, the game. So, but who knows? Yeah, it definitely is felt it's been weighing heavy. But listen, some of the finishing was again just so poor. I mean, the keeper made some great saves, but I mean, listen, Palace could have had a few themselves.
Yeah.
Alisson made some great saves, and you know, just not at the office again. I mean, I was obviously a little bit worse for wear. 10 hours on the piss on the Thursday after the ladies' day. Walked into a boozer in Walton Vale with a few of the lads I was with, and they said, Andy, you've seen the score? And I looked up and I genuinely was like, what the like, I'm going, what time is it? Obviously I was pissed, but I was like, couldn't believe it. Like, it was when it was 2-0, and then obviously it went 3, and I was again just as dumbfounded, not beating Palace. And then in a way, it's a weird one, isn't it? I went for a pint after it to drown my sorrows, and you see Arsenal get beat, and it felt a bit worse.
Yeah, definitely. I would say it'd be worse.
I mean, I'm grateful they did get beat, but at the time, I was just made me more angry, more frustrated that we never won, because it was just like, what the but
because I don't know who was talking about it. One of the pundits was talking about it, and he was saying, like, a 3-horse race is so hard because, you know, you've got two teams to overcome. So, like, you've got to win, and then they've got to do that, and it's like, it's really hard to be in a 3-horse race. Once it becomes a 2-horse race, it's a lot easier. You would have been in a 2-horse race.
Well, even if we'd got a draw, right, we'd be a point ahead of Arsenal, right?
Yeah. A point behind City, is it?
So you just only have to hope City...
It's only one dropped.
Yeah, whereas now,
instead of win.
We still need City and Arsenal to both mess up.
Yeah.
Whereas
so
we would only needed City, so... and obviously Arsenal are playing as we speak now. I think it's still 0-0.
Your mate next door might tell us and celebrate a buying goal, maybe.
I think, do you know what I mean? That Saliba was so good for so long, didn't he? And then, you know, Kane gives him a bit of a hard time. But
Sané as much.
Sané, and then before you know it, you're thinking they've conceded 2.
I said, didn't I? I said, like, maybe not as much Real Madrid, but I said that game against Bayern at the weekend, last week, will have shown some of the managers this is what we can do against Arsenal and Villa. Villa's, is it?
Watkins were great, yeah.
Runners.
So, which now leaves City as favourites. I mean, I think they were 2-5. I think with the bookies, Arsenal 3-1, Liverpool 5-1. I can't see. I think they've got to play Spurs away. I think that's the only game.
Yeah, Spurs got beat 4-0 by Newcastle at the weekend. I mean,
they
can obviously raise the game and stuff, but defensively, they're nowhere near good enough Spurs to deal with Man City.
No. The only thing as well, which obviously City they're playing now, obviously as we speak, they're getting beat 1-0. But we were talking before on text, and you were thinking, you know, City will win the Champions League, and we've just said then they're already favourites to the Prem. They played Chelsea at the weekend in the FA Cup. The only reason I said I can't see them winning tonight and going through is because it's going to mean... Oh, they've just did the bar.
Wow, that's so close.
It's going to mean that they're going to do the double treble.
And
that just sounds mad, doesn't it? And that's why I just...
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I can't see them.
It just sounds unbelievable. It's not possible.
I mean, that's what 115 charges can get you in the mix of doing. But it's... Yeah, I can't see them going through in this Champions League. I mean, we will have stopped recording before we know the final
I'm going to say it now. So there's... How long's it gone now? 20 minutes. City will win this 3-1.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it might even be 3-2 because how easily Real Madrid counted on them before, but City could have had 2 already, yeah.
No, I'm going to stick with Real Madrid going through. And that's just because I think they'll win the league now. I think they'll win the FA Cup. They can't do the double treble, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah. My point was, and obviously we'll know how this is going to play, or anyone who's listened to this will know how it's played out already. My point to use on WhatsApp today was Dortmund, PSG, potentially Bayern Munich. City were looking at that going, as if we're not beaten. They could beat all three of them on any given day, even at half their best. Dortmund's a fifth in the Bundesliga.
No, I know, I agree. But
fourth.
I don't think people have given Madrid much credit, though, you know.
Oh, listen, Madrid are a top side. But
they're not as good as they have been over the years defensively, but midfield and going forward, I think they're still just as good.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're playing well, yeah, but I still think...
No, I'm going to hold my fingers crossed. You boys went to down to Chelsea. I mean, we both thought that Chelsea would win. What did you say? A draw, did you think? Or did you say?
I thought, and again I said that I thought it was a game that we could get a result in. And you know what? I was talking about this time last week, and before the weekend's results, I would have said, let's just go in, make it difficult, you know, get men behind the ball, blah, blah, blah. When I seen the results over the weekend, i.e. Forest not winning, Luton getting beat, obviously, convincingly by City, I thought, we've got 2 games in hand here. Just go for it. Throw caution to the wind. He didn't even do that. He kind of just got caught in, or the players got caught in between throwing caution to the wind and being defensive, and they were just awful, disjointed. The manager's comments were saying they hadn't followed the game plan. We were dissecting it today on our podcast, and it was like, you don't know whether it was a sign of the dressing room kind of losing faith in the manager, or whether it was just complacency, or whether there was a lack of preparation. I don't know, but for the Sean's, I seem to get beat 6-0. It's so unusual.
I'm going to give you a pass. You know, I think Chelsea have got that in them to do that. I mean, look at Cole Palmer. I mean, what a player
Cole Palmer was absolutely phenomenal.
What a player. You know, we spoke all season about how good Brandtwaite's been. He megs him.
Yeah.
Puts him on his ass. Yeah. You know, and then just what an unbelievable finish. I think they've got that in them. I'd actually give you a pass for that. I wouldn't be too harsh on you. I think Chelsea have got it in the locker to do that.
And you know what? You might not be far wrong, but if I was the manager, I would have given them a pass as well. Then the manager should have. I think it's alarming that the manager was so critical of the players' attitudes. I think that's a mad one to do this close to the end of the season. You know, you're risking the players potentially going
against you. Yeah. Is it true that Brandtwaite was injured as well?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know serious it is. It's not a serious one as in like, you know, surgery or out to the end of the season, but you know, there's a chance that he's out for the game at the weekend. If he's out, and Calvert-Lewin wasn't in the squad, so he was injured as well. If them two are out, I think we'll have real problems against Forest.
I mean, this is the epitome of a 6-pointer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I said again on our podcast today, it's a must-not-lose game.
Take a draw, then.
Yeah, if we're in the bottom 3, then you say we've got to win this because we've got to get out of there. But the fact we're not, and you know, you're playing a team who, if they beat you, obviously I think it's just a must-not-lose game. I think if Calvert-Lewin and Brandtwaite are fit, I wouldn't say it's a must-win game. You'd probably say, look, we should be winning this game, or we should be the team that's you know, on the front foot, etc., etc. If both of them or one of them isn't playing, I'd probably take a draw. You know, just because I think there's more.
Even though you're at home.
Yeah, again, just the whole dynamic of the fact that you don't want to give Forest points. If you throw cautions to the wind, Forest have got players that can hit us on the break. They've got pace in that team, and I think they've got some decent attacking players. I think you're running the risk of them doing that to us on the break if we throw cautions to the wind. I think if we're solid and stuff, and we maybe look to get something from set pieces, I think there's a good chance you're going to at least get a point, maybe get a win. Do you know what I mean? I think it's a difficult one to throw too much caution to the wind. When you've got Sheffield United to come at home, Brentford, I think, is a more winnable game than Forest, only because of the fact that Brentford will most likely now be out of it by that point.
Yeah. And Sheffield United will be down, won't they? So
Sheffield United are probably going to be down. Brentford are more than likely going to be out of it. I don't think they'll fancy a battle and a real gritty performance of Goodison. So I think they're more winnable than this one. So I think draw against these, be difficult to beat against Luton. Again, for the same reason, you don't want to get beat by them and give them a chance to get points against you, and then win the other 2 home games. And not include your game. Just write that one off.
It would be a missed opportunity for me not to ask you this. Does Divock Origi score at the weekend?
Absolutely nailed on. No doubt about
Imagine that. He gets the winner.
God. It'd just be so typical Everton, but obviously so typical Origi, the way he's been against Everton down the years. But God, that has hurt that so much.
Just for the last 5, mate, before we wrap up, I just thought again, and it'll probably piss you off, so we won't spend the last couple of minutes on it. But did you see the news on Chelsea this week? So obviously, the FFP and the PSR, is it?
PSR, yeah. Profitability and Sustainability Rules, PSR, yeah. If I don't know that term by now.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, so there was talk about, obviously, Forest got done because they were all like having to sell. Was it Johnson, was it? Or they didn't, and
Brennan
they
Johnson,
to.
they waited for longer, yeah.
Yeah, so they're essentially having to, sell players, which what you think financial fair play is, you've got to sell players to balance the books. It's come out this week that Chelsea have sold 2 hotels in London for 80 million, I think it was. But they've sold them to Ted Bowley's other company, which brings into just the whole...
That's just scandalous, isn't it?
It is scandalous because you've got clubs now, what everyone thought FFP was buying and selling players to balance the books. Now clubs are buying and selling property to balance the book. And they're doing it not to other people, but they're doing it to their own, to themselves.
Shareholders.
Because, and apparently when things like this happen, they've got to go through the Premier League within a week or 2 weeks. It's been 9 months and it's not been ratified through the Premier League.
Oh my God.
And also the most scandalous thing about it is on their books, what you would think now is they don't own the buildings no more. They don't own the hotels. They're not making no money from the hotels. So that's then got to be scratched from their revenue going forward. What they've done is they've sold the hotels for the 80 million, but they've put in a management fee on it. So they're still making the money that the hotel makes.
Oh, no.
I'm frustrated by it, but our Evertonians
so they effectively leasing the hotels back then? They must be paying to lease them back.
I don't know the exact terms
that's
doing it, but
so
essentially
it's not uncommon. So most hotels in the world are not owned by the hoteliers, if you like.
Well, so they must have just sold the building to Ted Bowley's company for 80 million, which then made them not break FFP rules.
They sublet all of the rooms,
but then they've
and
said,
let them out.
You can then still
so
own the hotel.
They'll make money.
So they're still making the exact same money that they were making from a running, profitable hotel, but they've just sold.
And probably
the
all that's happening is that Todd Bowley's probably lent the money. Obviously you're not using his own case. Probably borrowed the money to buy the building, and all Chelsea are probably paying back is the interest on that loan. That's probably what's happening. He's probably charged them what the interest's going to be, so it's a net deal.
So it's just scandalous, mate, and it just made. I think I tweeted this week. It's just this season. I can't think this season.
He's a mockery, hasn't it?
That's been less about on the pitch stuff.
Yeah.
Than it has about VAR, bad refereeing, bad calls.
That's why it was wouldn't have been that bothered if you won the league. It was just like one of them seasons again.
But it's a joke, mate, and I think again, you've got teams on the pitch having to sell the best players to try and balance the books, where Chelsea are in a fortunate position where they're in central London. Properties are a lot more expensive than it is,
100%.
Everywhere else, and that's how they're getting away with it, which is a farce, and it's just made another grim week for the Premier League.
Definitely.
Yeah, mate, we've
got this weekend
in the hour. We've got Fulham away on the Sunday 4:30.
We're Sunday as well.
You're 1:30, aren't you?
Yeah.
I said I was going to stay off the ale, but depending on how Arsenal get on, if Arsenal slip up, I might go for a pint and watch it. But if Arsenal win, I'm not going to watch it.
Isn't it more about Man City though than Arsenal?
Well, it is, but if Arsenal don't win, then it means it's back into a bit of a, we only need Man City now, don't we, to slip up. So if Arsenal slip up, I might go for a pint and watch it.
City not playing,
No, they're in the FA Cup against Chelsea.
Yeah, because in my last man standing, it was like, I've already picked City, and I was like, where's City?
Yeah. So I think if Arsenal slip up, I'll go for a pint and watch it. If they don't, I'll just watch it in the house.
Fair enough.
Right, Gary, let's go and watch hopefully City get beat by Madrid.
Yeah, I think City will get a goal before our time. They're starting to get on top. Maybe
Right.
got chances, but yeah.
As always, we'll have our footy bets this week. Thanks again for watching this week, and we'll see you soon.